Welcome back to another day, another episode of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about Take-Two boss Strauss Zelnick says gaming is moving towards PC as the industry shifts away from closed systems. We're also going to talk about Gen Z loves AI slop, says former Square Enix executive, which means that Arc Raiders' controversial AI usage is just the tip of the spear. And then we're going to watch a video that came out yesterday for Bellular News, which is called Big Studios Called Steam a Monopoly, but it's a setup. These are the three main things that we're talking about today. If you guys like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. What's going on? Morning, guys. We have a little bit of a technical issue. Not my fault today. The Cloudflare, so I won't be able to bring your chat up on the actual screen. Cloudflare is down, so it's affecting like basically websites for news sites, Twitter, the program I use inside here. So I can't bring the actual chat when I'm bring you up on the actual screen. So morning Roadkill, morning Jason, what's going on Eclipse? Big Bad Mo, what's going on? Who am I scrolling down to? Sarge, good morning. Altern, good morning. Roic, good morning. Kylo, good morning. So yeah, a couple of things today. I thought this was funny. So let's bring this up on screen. Oh, so this is what you see if I bring the chat up. You see this? the screen is completely it says Cloudflare error. I thought this was funny because obviously I'm not making fun of PlayStation. We all saw this coming, right? So Xbox and PlayStation obviously raised the prices of their consoles earlier this year. And now PlayStation Black Friday deal is PlayStation 5 disc/digital Fortnite bundle is $449 and $399. Save $100 on the PlayStation 5 console in select regions, right? They raised it $100 and then they, give you the sale of $100. So basically you're now paying regular price for what the PlayStation was back then. Save $100 on the PlayStation 5 Pro as well / the PSVR 2. Minus $20 on the Portal DualSense Access Plus Elite headset. $30 off the Pulse Explorer DualSense Edge. And up to 33% off PlayStation Plus. So there you go. There's your deals for PlayStation for Black Friday. So if you didn't own a PlayStation yet, and now you want to buy a PlayStation, you're getting it for over the price that you would have paid for it last time when you could have bought a PlayStation, but now you have to pay more money for the PlayStation, even though it's on sale, right? And this will also be for Xbox along the way, because they'll come out and say, "Oh yeah, we're giving a discount of $100," and it'll be like, "Oh great, now it's regular price again." So goodbye actual sales. So there you go. Save 60% off site-wide. They're so nice, aren't they? I thought you were going to talk about Hightail. I already talked about Hightail. You can literally go watch that video I did back in June or July 1st, or whatever it was. And everything that I said in that video pertains to what I would say for Hightail today since the guy purchased it. And now he's the owner of it again. Because he said what he said back in June, July, and he's saying the exact same thing now. It's going to come out in early access. They're going to ask for more funding. It's the exact same thing. The throat sounds a little wrecked. Yeah, it is. Here's my tea. That's what happens when you talk all the time. All right, so we have that, and then we have, where's the other thing I wanted to talk about? There was one more thing. Oh, here it is. I don't think we can we bring it up? Is it working? Yeah, here it is. This is good news. Good news for those of you that are interested. Coming soon to Xbox Game Pass, you see the Crew Motorfest is coming out. Moonlighter 2, Monsters are coming. Rock and Road, Cosmic Invasion, Banisher. I wanted to try Banisher out, but I never got around to it. We got Lost Records, Kill It with Fire 2, And then we have Revenge of the Savage Planet, which I could have sworn, oh, they moved over to premium. I was like, wasn't Revenge of the Savage Planet already on Game Pass? But the big one for me is Cosmic Invasion, right? So it comes out on Ultimate. It comes out on Xbox Series S, X, PC, handheld, and cloud, so everywhere. So this is a 100% play for me on Game Pass. And then when they come out with a physical copy, I'll pick that up as well. So there you go. That's the other quick news this morning. Afternoon, Mr. Luke. Evan, what's going on? So, yeah, so there you go. We got the Cosmic Invasion. I'm very excited for that game. I was going to obviously buy it, but now I can play it. And we were talking a little bit yesterday. Jason was in chat yesterday saying, waiting for the physical copy. And someone said, I don't think they have a physical copy. But soon as they do now have a physical copy, I will go buy that. Because I like collecting those, like, Teenage Mutant Turtle one. I haven't bought the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger one yet, but we have G.I. Joe. I would like if they had them in physical format. So if it comes out on physical format, I will definitely pick that one up. When? When what? That comes out on December 1st. Oh, right after you lose access. See what happens, Luke? They got you. Yeah, I bet too, Jason. See, I don't know if I can bring that up. Yeah, it doesn't come up on the screen. Yeah, because of the Cloudflare is down. I can't bring your guys' chat up on the screen. Yeah, I think it will come out later as well as Teenage Mutant Turtles. All right, let's start off. Yesterday we were talking about AI stuff, or was that 2 days ago? Well, I guess it would be last week we were talking about AI stuff. All right, so let's get to the first stories. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. There is 2 new songs up on our Spotify playlist that we created. We have Lost Its Call, which is the Call of Duty song, and then we have Battlefield's Back, which is obviously the Battlefield song. Those are both up on the 30NSG topic on YouTube, and they also are over on Spotify and anywhere else that you want to listen to music. All right, so Gen Z loves AI slop, quote, says former Square Enix executive, which means that Arc Raiders' controversial AI usage is just the tip of the spear. Okay, a lot of people are up in arms about AI taking over people's jobs. But here's the funny part. Before we even get into, is it morally right or wrong, I do find it interesting because customers, not consumers, customers want to buy and spend their money on things that show good quality, right? It doesn't matter if they're buying a toaster oven or if they're, watching a movie or buying a car, right? They want a good product that they spend their hard-earned money on. So then that's what a customer is, right? A consumer is someone that doesn't care what the quality is. They're going to buy it because they want it. If it's good or bad, doesn't matter if it's a piece of crap product or not. Okay. So when people say, I'm not going to buy AI slop, what about if the AI is better than the actual thing that's being made by an actual person? Okay. Because again, you're looking for quality, not the actual art of the actual thing being created, right? Like every day, your cell phone wasn't created by hand. Okay. It was created by an assembly line of machines. Okay, it's an assembly line of stuff that makes the stuff. So does that make it less good or bad? That's for you to decide, right? So now in video games, when they come out with AI slop, as they're saying, okay, it says championing certainly is least defining a rise of generative AI use of game development. Former Square Enix business director Jacob Navak argues that younger generations of gamers don't share many concerns around the technology reckons most games. Okay, they do not care in general. The instance of personally knows multiple studios using generative AI, even from the concept phase. Okay. So what he's saying here is the younger the people, the more they're not going to care about the actual, if it's AI or not. They just want the product. And they don't care if it's good or bad, as long as in their eyes, it's good. So they don't care how the sausage is made. Okay. It says Navak discussed that generative AI in games in a Twitter post, weighing in on the discussion of Arc Raiders, which infamously, even stuffed in with AI voices. It should add into the game art. Voices are merely a tip of the spear, Novak says, and many more are using Claude of the code. It says the thrust of Novak's argument is for all the anti-AI sentiment we're seeing is various articles. It appears consumers generally do not care. Okay, we had this conversation months ago when we were showing you Sora, when people were starting to make videos and whatnot, and people were like, "I don't care." I'm like, "Well, they're not directors, they're not filmmakers. Like AI is creating it, not the person that's actually doing it. You could be a filmmaker, but you are not." You know what I'm saying? You're not a director of that. You're not directing anything. You're not creating anything. You are coming up with a concept in your brain, and then AI is doing it because you're typing something on the thing. You're giving it prompts. Okay, that doesn't make you a film. Like you're not an artist. Okay, you're making something cool. Now, if that thing is good or bad, and someone pays money for it, if they're entertained by it, where do you draw the line? A lot of young people don't care if it's made by a person, if it's made by AI. They actually don't even ask that question. Is this thing made by AI? They don't care. Okay. It says Strauss arguments that for all the anti-AI sentiment, there's also various articles it appears. Okay. Customers generally do not care. The claim is firmly rooted in Arc Raiders, which has sold millions of copies throughout the explosive launch. Despite developer Embark Studios, which undoubtedly has resources to hire real voice actors, making highly visible use of generative AI. First of all, I don't like the way they said that, because they've come out and said they actually hired the people to make the AI voices. Okay. So Hollywood on strike earlier this year because they were trying to fend off people from using their voices. Like they would hire someone, pay them a $200 minimum pay, do some voice acting, and then they would continue using their voices on after. If that's what the person wants to do, then that's what they do. They got paid for the job, and if they use your voice afterwards, and you didn't sign a contract that says every time you use this voice, I get, a royalty down the line. That's you. That's up to you, right? And if you don't take it, they pull the tissue out, and another tissue's there waiting, and someone will take that job. So they did hire people for Arc Raiders specifically, okay? And they had people that were actually doing the voice acting. So for them to say, despite Embark Studios using undoubtedly has the resources to hire real people, they did, okay? Making highly visible use of the generative AI. They used real people and then made the generative AI. Novak also points out that Roblox hits Steel and Brain Rot, which also estimates that approximately 80 times the Arc Raiders concurrence. And it's is named after / based of AI slop character. Younger gamers, in particular, seem that AI is the reason, or it's put as Gen Z loves AI slop, does not care, and the upcoming generation of gamers are Bane and Dark Knight's Rise, saying that merely adopt the slop was I was born in it. Right? They conditioned you. They've conditioned them from the beginning. There's people right now, right? Why do you think people don't go to the movies? Okay. It's not even about AI, right? In the 80s, 70s, and 80s, even early 90s, when people made a horror film or they did something, everything was practical. Everything was in the actual, like, filmed on camera. Even George Lucas, when he made, Star Wars back in the day, they made models. Those were models that they used special effects to make it inside the actual movie. But it was a physical model. It was a physical thing that someone created. The monsters in the films, the makeup artist that did it, Tom Savini, one of the best makeup artists out there, made all of the monsters inside this thing, right? All these horror flicks, they were practical effects inside the movie. Movies now, everyone's like, oh, well, it's just, they're just not as good anymore. They're not good anymore because we, the people that saw movies that were made with actual artists, actual people making the physical stuff for these films, okay, are now seeing CGI slop where, sure, someone's creating it, but in a digital, but it's something different. It's a tool that they use that make the special effects. So instead of making the starship now in a model format, they're making it in a model format within the computer program, and that computer program is now on thing, right? So someone made it, but they didn't make it with their hands, right? They made it with the technology that's, what we have today. So, but if you look at that, less people going to the movies. Half of the people that used to go to movies are going there now. Now, you can say that's because of the technology and people sit at their homes and stuff like that, but a lot of people don't even watch the films. They're not even watching them once they're out of the theaters. They're not watching them. They don't care about them. Why? Right? There's this disconnect to it. So this is what's happening with video games, right? If you have a kid and they're playing on an iPad or an iPhone right now, they're being conditioned, they're being used to all of this stuff that's happening, right? So AI being embedded into the phones now, AI being embedded into the films now, where people can just make cartoons, make feature films, make commercials, and they're all AI, and we just start consuming that, you're not going to be able to tell the difference if it's real or fake. So at that point, when he says it's AI slop, it is AI slop. But at the same time, if the AI is making good stuff, does it really matter if the person is being entertained by the actual thing? It doesn't. They don't care at that point. It says generative AI has proven decisive amongst the people who also make and play games. On the pro AI side, just today, the CEO of Helldivers 2 developer Arrowhead argued that there's a middle ground on the generative AI supporting ARC raiders instantly detect and actually makes games better or gaming better. He says, when we pressed embark on the generative AI co-founder, explained he used a combination of recordings of real actors and text-to-speech. The voices simultaneously claim that there's no end goal in replacing any actors. Their goal is not to replace any actors, but big corporations look at this and say, oh, if we could do that, what can we actually do with that, right? So yeah, Embark might not be saying, hey, we're going to replace the actors, that's our end goal. But at the same time, big corporations like the EAs, the Microsofts, the Sonys, like the Amazons, the Googles, right? They all look at the stuff and go, how do we make more margin? Well, we have to get more people. Well, if we can't get more people, then we have to make more money off the product that we have. Well, how do we do that? Well, if we can bring the price up of the stuff, but we also fire 20,000 people, we'll make a lot more money. Well, that's what's happening. Right, that's what's happening in the movie industry. That's what's happening in the video game space. Dead Space creator and ex-Call of Duty boss Glenn Schofield has also been bringing up AI, calling it in the right investment. The game studio is advertising others make your own rules and how you want to deal with it, offering a stance of using his own work as ammo for prompts. EA, unsurprisingly, has commented to using AI and reports related divisions of the company, but doing it with a thoughtful, steady approach. Sure you are. Okay. Take-Two's Strauss Zelnick is a similar mind. Valve billionaire Gabe Newell may also be amongst the empathetic of AI supporters, or empathetic to AI supporters. He says, yet there's still many folks folks who also reside in the C-suites or often their own yachts, pushing back against the generative AI in many forms. I follow roughly a zillion game developers online, and each day the feeds are filled with anti-AI sentiment. Okay, huge groups represent major names in anime and games, from studio to Square Enix to Bandai Namco, also called AI companies to avoid unauthorized use of their IP. The idea of generative AI games in particular prompted a strong response from Palworld developer Pocket Pair Publishing boss John Buckley, who said, if you've played even one game, then you've also rudimentary understanding of the game's mechanics, so you know it's absolutely horseshit. He says, I think the huffing pure copium if you think these are going in, if you're going anywhere, he added. So, this is going to get worse and worse as we go, but also the line's going to get blurred, right? Because just what was it? 2 years ago, we saw the Will Smith eating spaghetti, right? And now you look at AI and people are making feature length commercials, and they're also making music videos, and they're also making actual movies at the time. And we know it's AI because it tells us it's AI. But what happens when they don't tell us it's AI? And all of a sudden, right? And all of a sudden, we look at this and say, well, it's fine. Well, then obviously the companies are going to do more and more. Oh, real quick, there's a child in chat. Bullseye's here. He says, the show starts at 10, BS unsubbed. Well, have a good day. Thanks for stopping by. And I know it's hard to read. All right, the show does start at 10 every single day. If you come at 9:30, between 9:30 and 10, and it hasn't started yet, you want your 10 seconds of fame. Here it is, Bullseye. No one cares if you subscribe or unsubscribe. You want to watch the stuff, watch the stuff. You don't want to watch the stuff, don't watch the stuff. You have a wonderful day. All right. Now that the child is gone. So, yeah, all AI stuff, okay, all AI stuff is going to just get worse and worse, exponentially worse or exponentially better, all depending on the people that are starting to use the AI tools. Do they make AI stuff better? I don't know. I've messed with AI now for over a year and a half, and I would think that the songs that I've created in the very beginning, compared to the songs, all right, since the from the beginning to what the songs I've created today are better songs. Now, obviously, I'm not making the music, but the writing and understanding the prompts and understanding the layers that I can put with the prompts in parentheses or quotes or whatever, I can make the music do what I want. I can make the hi-hats come in. I can make the stuff come in. I'm using it as a tool, but I'm not going to tell you that I'm the artist. I'm not the person creating the actual music, because I'm not, right? But I am using the tools that I have to make better music, and over the time, it has become better. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think about the AI as far as where is it going to be? Where is it going to go? Are you going to support, right? Because there's going to be a moment that you're like, I'm out, right? I'm out. I don't want to support this. Just like I don't want to buy regular food anymore. I want to buy organic food, right? You stop buying the regular stuff because you think organic is the way to go, right? Where is the organic tag happening on video games? Is it going to be a line where you're like, you know what? I'm not playing these games anymore because they're just made by AI and they're not good? Or are they really good and you don't want to play them because they're made by AI and not actual people? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe. And if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. All right. Let me see what you guys are saying. What's going on, Jesse? Good morning. Good morning, Ray. Visual effects AI is better than 90% of the visual effects artists for 100 times cheaper. Yeah. Good morning, Wonder Rose. Especially writing in a video game. Most of the time, it's really bad. There's some good writers in video games, but not anymore. I think a lot of the writing for that specific thing you're saying, we talked about this when we talked about movies and TV shows, right? Writing, I know everyone wants to come out of school and think they're like an amazing writer, right? Or they're the director. Like everyone wants to come out and think they can do something better, but they really don't understand. And just age teaches you this as you go, right? Like anyone that has a child knows that when you say something to your kid, the kid's like, I know, but they don't really know, right? They think they know. And then 5 seconds later, they're asking you, how do you do this? Okay. That's what it is when kids come out of college, right? Is there that one person that's a phenomenon, and knows everything? Sure. Okay. But he doesn't have the experience. A writer only gets experience from writing. And a lot of the writers that are coming out think they know writing, but they don't know writing. And that's the fundamental problem there across the board. People writing books, people writing scripts, people writing commercials, people writing video games. Ray says, I don't care if the meat we eat is ethical. I only if it's cheap and tastes good. That's exactly right, Ray. A lot of people right now try to make it sound like they're upset. They're like, I'm not gonna buy this or play this. But at the same time, if no one told them what it was or who made it, they wouldn't care. Eclipse says exactly. Meat becoming a premium, we also had to pay money for people to buy it. People don't care how the quality is. They want cheapness. Exactly right. What's going on, Dustin? Dustin says, I tried Twitter, 5G, no Wi-Fi. It works on Spotify, a couple other websites. What does, Dustin? You talking about just Twitter in general working because of the outage? What's going on, Brainchild? AI will cause the flood of crappy examples with a few diamonds in the rough for a few years. Then people will learn what works and optimize use for it. Yeah, I think so. I think as people use it and they understand exactly. Again, I'll use myself as an example with the music, right? If you listen to go 7 out of 10 IGN song compared to Stop Buying Broken Buggy Games or the latest one that I did, right? Like it's night and fucking day, right? 7 out of 10 was a good song when I created it because it was funny. But now the songs I'm making now are much, much better. I'm layering stuff. I got different backup vocalists and stuff in the background. Not that I'm doing it, but because the program is getting better and better and I can layer stuff. Most people, when I play the music, don't even know they're listening to that. And then I tell them it's AI. They're like, what? Huh? What? Ray says it's like people who write great fan fiction but suck at original work. Yes, that's a good example, Ray. Right? People that write good fan fiction only know about good fan fiction, and the reason they're good at fan fiction is because they keep doing that. Right? The more you do something, the better you get at it. Mo says, "Oh, I be talking shit when they do that. Oh, really? You need help then? I thought you knew. Yeah, exactly. The kids. It's exactly right. They're like, I know. And you're like, oh, okay, you know, great. Then go do your thing. And they're like, oh, but what does this mean? And I'm like, oh, now you need my help. Okay. You know what my son said to me the other day? He's going on a field trip today, right? He's going on a field trip today to go bowling, and we bowl a lot. And every day he bowls. Like, my dad was a really good bowler. Okay. He still is a good bowler. Okay. And every day when I was growing up, every time we went bowling, my dad would tell me, you're turning your hand. You're turning your hand. You got to throw the ball here. You got to throw the ball. Right. Teaching me as a dad does. Okay. Now I teach my son this. Now he's going bowling with his school today. And he says, Dad, did you know that if you throw the ball down the middle, but in between the head pin and the other pin, he goes, that's the best place to throw it? I go, you don't say. You don't say, right? And I was like, well, where'd you learn that? Thinking it was for me, and it finally sunk in. No, he learned it from watching Mark Rober's YouTube video, where he had a ball that he put a little motor inside of it, and when he like swayed and hit, and what was optimized to hit the actual thing, that's where he learned it. Can you please, like, I'm losing my mind over here. Okay. Losing my mind over here. He's like, oh yeah, that's where I learned it. I'm like, oh, not from your dad that taught you that every single day, every time we go bowling? No? Okay, cool. Yeah, what you say exactly right, 30. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, there it goes. Hold on one second. This chat box, man, is all over the place today. It's exactly what you said, right, 30. Dan Hauser was an actual immigrant. This is why Nico was such a good character, and he knew how to write that character. You gotta love it, Mo. Right? You teach them something over and over and over. They're like, no. I learned it from YouTube. Oh, did you? Maybe you should subscribe to my channel. Unlike Bullseye, who unsubscribed. Let's make sure Bullseye knows that I want to give him again a little bit more attention. Everyone in chat, please say goodbye to Bullseye. Thanks for unsubscribing. I appreciate it, because I only want people that subscribe to the channel to watch the channel. So I appreciate that. Thanks, Bullseye. All right, the next topic that we're going to talk about. Is Take-Two boss Strauss Zelnick says gaming is moving towards PC as the industry shifts away from closed systems, but we still don't have GTA 6 announcement. Okay? I don't think he said that part, but we'll see. If you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning, Monday through Thursday. If you guys like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you like it, go above and beyond that. Become a member as little as $5. I appreciate it very much. All right, so Take-Two. Okay, Take-Two boss Strauss Zelnick says gaming is moving towards PC. Now, console guys don't want to see this. Okay, so it says, I've been around long enough to remember a time where PC gaming is dying. Okay, it was something people said without irony. They say that right now. Strauss. Okay, the declaration of convenience is also the power of console would also soon put the end of the headaches and expenses of playing games on PC. It didn't work. It didn't work out of that way. All right. He even says it didn't work out that way. Of course. And these days, it seems like the pendulum is swinging in the opposite direction. PC gaming is thriving. And the walled garden approach of conventional consoles is increasingly being called into question. Do you understand why PC has always been growing and was never going away? people don't like to be told what to do, right? You make the game, you sell the game, I play the game how I want to play. You sell the console, I use the console, but when you start telling us that the console is going to do 4K, 120 frames per second, blah 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 blah, people are like, okay, and then it doesn't do that. See, no one complained that the Nintendo did was 8-bit. Nobody complained about that. Then the company said, hey, we're going to make from 8-bit to 16-bit. And nobody complained about that, right? And then we went to the 64. And everyone's like, oh, cool, they're making stuff better for us. They made a better product from what it was before. So we bought it because it was a better product than the one before. But now we're in this like weird state where Nintendo, well, actually, we'll keep Nintendo out of this conversation because Nintendo didn't promise you the world. But Sony and Microsoft did. Sony and Microsoft decided that they were going to make these consoles. And I'm not saying any, like, I play console all the time. Okay. I think the graphics are beautiful. Like, if Star Wars Battlefront 2 is like the peak. Okay. It's like the peak. It's fantastic. Okay. But when you look at the way, here's the ceiling. Okay. This is the ceiling. Nintendo was way down here with the first console. And then it slowly started creeping up 64. And then, then you got the now you have the 4K. Right? The ceiling's here. Where do you go? Especially since consoles used to be 60 frames per second. Then they got rid of the 60 frames per second. And now they're selling you back up to the 60 frames per second. Okay. Well, now they're getting rid of that because the consoles have hit the ceiling. So PC has never hit a ceiling because you could constantly get better frames, more frames. Now, obviously, down the road, there will be a ceiling. But you get to decide what you want to put in your machine. You get to decide how much powerful you want it to be or less powerful, right? You get to decide how fast or slow, how high fidelity or as least fidelity, okay? Where the console doesn't do that for you. So a lot of people are like, and it's always been this way. Hence why PC is 3 billion people playing video games and consoles never reached over 275 million people. Okay, it's 200, less than 250 really. Okay, because there's cross buying across the board. Okay, it says Take-Two Strauss Zelnick expressed just the feeling that the new interview with Squawk Box on CSNBC. I think it's moving towards PC and business is moving towards an open rather than closed, Zelnick said. But if you define console as a property, not the system, then the notion of a very rich game that you can also engage in, and also for many hours, you can also play on a big screen that's never going away. So Zelnick qualifying comment hits the state of flux of the game industry currently finds itself in. Microsoft insists that it's also making the next-gen Xbox console, but it also wants to know that everything is an Xbox now, which might lead to one to wonder, as a PC gamer hardware hammer James Bentley did, what's the point of buying a new Xbox? What is the point of buying anything if there's something else out there? It's competitiveness, right? If you want to buy an Xbox, buy an Xbox. If you don't want to buy an Xbox, buy the television set that can play Xbox, right? Get the phone that can play Xbox. Get the VR headset that plays Xbox. If you don't want to play Xbox, then buy Sony. If you don't want to buy Sony, then buy Nintendo. If you don't want to buy Nintendo, then I don't understand the people that are like, there's 0 point. Yeah, right. Sarge says it, 0 point to buy an Xbox now. Great. Then don't buy an Xbox. They are okay with you not buying the actual hardware because they can make more margin off the thing that doesn't sell, right? They used to sell the consoles at a loss to get you in on the software. Well, now they're like, less people are buying consoles. The stats show this. The stat has never gone above 273 million people buying a console between Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. Okay? So why, if you don't want to buy an Xbox, then don't buy an Xbox. But you can still play Xbox if you choose you want to play Xbox. Okay? That's the ecosystem they're making for you. They're making it convenient for you to go, I don't have $500 to buy an Xbox. Well, guess what? You have a television, don't you? Well, you can play Xbox right now. Okay? Everyone that's a console person looks at this and says, well, I'm not going to buy an Xbox. Did you buy an Xbox right now? I'll tell you what, 38 million people only bought an Xbox. So all of these people that say, what's the point of buying an Xbox? You weren't going to buy an Xbox anyway. All the people that 80 million people bought a PlayStation, guess what? Where's the other billion people that are buying a PlayStation? They're not, because they're not buying a PlayStation. They're not buying an Xbox. So where are they supposed to go? They're like, well, I can't really afford a $700 system. I can't afford a $2,000 box, right, with the PC. So they're like, let me meet them where they are. They have a television. They have a cell phone. They have a tablet. So that's what they're doing. Why is it so hard for people to understand this? Sure, I own an Xbox. I own a PlayStation. I own a Nintendo. But how many people own all three? I don't even own a PlayStation 5 for the new generation. I only own 2 of the systems. Okay? How many people own multiple systems? How many people own one system? Well, I'll tell you what, it's not more than 250 million people. So it says Valve, meanwhile, complicated matters even further with last week's announcement of the new Steam Deck machine, or the new Steam machine, a small connected to your TV box and walks, swims, and quacks like a console. It's also a really low-spec gaming PC. It's not a console. It's not a console. It's a PC. Here, real quick, let me go to their site. We'll just go right to their site, and let's scroll down. Where is it? Where does it say it? It says it's a PC, right? Steam machine. And it's a PC. There's no false advertisement. There's no denying it. Right? It's not a console. It's a lower end PC. And guess what consoles are? Consoles are lower end PCs. Okay? So the Steam machine is a PC. It says it right on the box. Right on the box. Okay? But yet, here they are. Walks, swims, and quacks like a console, but in reality, it's a low-spec gaming PC. The reveal prompted Xbox boss Phil Spencer to remind us all that seemingly without much excitement behind it, that Xbox is one of the largest publishers on Steam. And that doesn't seem great for Microsoft console business. Again, these people are stuck on this console business. The console business hasn't grown in 20 years. Hasn't grown in 20 years. Okay? Hasn't grown in 20 years. If you're a business and trying to grow and your industry hasn't grown past a certain point, what do you have to do to grow? Well, you either have to raise the price or you have to adapt and move somewhere else. Hence why Microsoft is moving their games to PC, which they've been there for years, decades. Okay? And PlayStation is doing the exact same thing. Why? Because the market is not growing for them. Okay? So it says one of the largest publishers on Steam. One, it doesn't seem great for Microsoft's console business. After all, if you can play Xbox games on your Steam machine and you can't play Steam games on your Xbox console, why would you buy an Xbox console? Again, you wouldn't, but you would still play their games. And guess what? They make more money off of the games. Ask Nintendo. Okay, much of the decision will come down to pricing. And still, we don't have those numbers on the Steam machine yet. But even if the stage is something that the people are no doubtly thinking about. So I find myself agreeing with Zelnick. Console gaming here is to stay, even if consoles aren't. But it would be remiss to say if they didn't note that a little irony of Grand Theft Auto 6 also is a way of the biggest gun Take-Two's arsenal and still hasn't been announced for PC. Well, you don't want to let the cat out of the bag yet, right? It's got contracts signed. If Sony's got the marketing for GTA, which I would assume they do, they've had it always in the past, you would undercut them by announcing it for PC right away, right? You want to make sure that people buy the game that own a PC and own a console, that they would get it for PlayStation first, right? So get the pre-orders and whatnot in. But yeah, I believe it's coming day and date. Now, obviously, we won't know until it happens, and we'll see what the price tag of the Steam machine is. But overall, console's not going anywhere. The record player is still here. Okay. Horse and buggies are still around. People still use those things. Are they the majority? No. But why would you buy a horse and buggy? Well, it's a particular part of a job, so people are going to buy it. People want to play a video game on their television set. They can buy a console of their choice. And if they don't want to buy a console of their choice, then they can play the platform of their choice on the device of their choice, right? Yet people are still stuck in this, got to have a console to play video games. Yeah, you have to have a console to play video games, right? I can literally make phone calls without even a phone. Do we understand this, right? I can make a phone call without a phone. I can play video games without a video game console. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of the other videos. Thanks for watching. All right, let me see what you guys are saying here. Mo says, if everything is an Xbox, then everything is an Xbox. Sarge says, the games can be played anywhere on any system now. So I don't want the complaint is anymore. I don't know what the complaint is anymore. They're also literally called the PC. It's a fucking debate. Yeah, these mongoloids. I don't understand why they keep asking. It's a console. It's not a console. It's a PC. It's a PC that goes to your television set. Even though your PC could go to your television set right now. There's people that make PC out of pizza boxes. Are those consoles? Is that an Xbox? Bro, we're talking about this 3 years ago. We said it would also go towards PC. Yeah, but I'm a nobody, Sarge. You're a nobody, right? I think they will do what they did with Red Dead Redemption 2. It will be day one on PC, but it's also going to be on Rockstar's launcher, so they can make all the money. Did Red Dead Redemption day one on PC? Is that true? If that's the case, then why is everyone saying that GTA, is that true? I don't remember that. No, it was day one, but it was 6 months, and it was the first Rockstar launcher. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. PC2 was released on November 5th of 2019 through Rockstar Game Launcher and Epic Game Store. It became available on Steam a month later on December 5th, 2019. Yeah, October 26th is when it came out. Okay. It came out a year later for PC on their launcher. Console fanatics operate under the delusion that they aren't playing on a PC already. Modern consoles are literally PC with specific hardware. Ray says Pocket emulation machines run on Linux. Are they PCs? I mean, technically, yes. Your cell phone is a tiny PC. What is a PC? What is a console? The PlayStation 3 can be a PC. Sure. But all a console is stripping out all the other stuff that a PC can do, right? Like, I can surf the browser and stuff on my console. It's a terrible experience. Terrible experience. But it's a PC. It's what it is. But they tear everything out to make it simplistic because people don't want to be bothered. They want the convenience of plug and play. It plugs into the television set and they're like, oh, I can play. I understand what this is. But if you put a bigger box in front of them and they're like, what's Windows? Right? They get confused. Right? They get confused. Right? They don't know what Linux is. They don't know, right? Like, Ray, you just saying Linux, we probably lost half the people. Not really, because a lot of people that watch this know about all this stuff, right? But when you say Linux, they're like, what is that? Like, those people have no idea what Linux is. A clip says, it was in a year. I didn't have a console at that time. Yeah, it was 1 year afterwards that it came out. Like it came out in October of 2018, then it came out in November of 2019. Now, obviously, if the launcher was before the game came out, would have been day and date. I mean, we can speculate, but obviously they came out with it afterwards. Such as I told you, bro, words are messing people up. They don't know what to call the device. I mean, Steam literally says it's a PC. The Xbox browser could be perfect if they remove the digital keyboard pop-up, but they don't. Right? Everyone that talks about the new Steam box, okay, they're like, "Oh, it's about time I can hook up my a box to my television set." You can literally physically take your Xbox or your console, your tower of your PC, put it next to your television set, and plug it in, and it's on your television set. People are like, "No, it doesn't work that way. You need a monitor, and it just doesn't work the same." It's like, I don't understand. Like, literally, I play my PC on my television set. I don't understand. Someone explained to me how taking a small box, plugging into your television set is easier than taking a big box and plugging into your television set. Someone explained this to me. Like, they think that because it's a PC, you have to have a rolling chair and a desk. Like, that's what people think. Which is mind-boggling to me. Like, make it make sense. What's going on, Argus? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. This is the same conversation we had last year, or earlier this year. No, it was last year or 2 years ago, when people told me people didn't plug their PlayStation, okay, when they play online games, to the actual internet. They just use Wi-Fi. And I was like, what? They're like, yeah, they just use Wi-Fi. They don't want to bring the cable. I'm like, what? They're playing competitive multiplayer games and they're doing it over Wi-Fi? And then they complain about desync? What? Consoles or PCs as well. They just have restricted versions. Yeah, I know that, Argus. Yeah, like 80% of people don't plug their consoles into the actual internet. And yet complain about the internet. Now people are telling me that, well, thank God Steam came up with a box that was tinier so I could put it next to my television set now, because now I can plug it in. I mean, you could plug it in before. I don't know if people know this, but you could take your console and plug it into a computer monitor. I don't know if people know that. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. People are very confused by what you can plug things into. It's like a chart. You have to have a chart. PC tower, television, no. Console into monitor, no. I can't do that. Console into television, yes. Yes, you can do that. It's like, what are we talking about? I feel like I'm an absolute idiot sometimes. And I know some of you guys, this guy is an idiot. Or am I? All right. The next thing we're going to talk about is from Bellular News. Bellular. I don't know why I always fuck it up. I know what it is. I just always fuck it up. Bellular News. Okay. He's got a video where he talks about big studios calling Steam a monopoly. Okay. But it's a setup. Okay, so we're going to watch this. All the links in the description are down below. If you guys like what we do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Or if you'd like to go above and beyond that, you can unsubscribe like Bullseye did. That would help us out a lot. All right. So let's watch Bellular news here.
Okay, this one's going to be a real touchy subject.
Oh, real quick. Aku, I can't bring it up on screen. Whoop, there it is. There it is. Careful, 30. You'll fry the console people's brains. Thank you very much for the $2 super chat. Appreciate that.
So, 306 game studios were just surveyed about Steam. 75% were senior executives, 77% were from companies with 50 plus employees, and
oh, let me go back. The State of PC Game Distribution Audience Research. 306 PC game developers, 77% of respondents are from studios with more than 50 employees, and all respondents are managers. 75% of the senior managers are C-suite level, and 67% of the respondents are from US, and 33% are from the UK. Okay.
Senior executives, 77% were from companies with 50 plus employees, and 72% called it a monopoly. And by it, I mean
the State of PC Distribution key finding. 72% of the developers see Steam as a monopoly. That's not how that works, folks. It's not the perception of a monopoly. Okay? A monopoly is a monopoly. Steam is not a monopoly. Steam has created a platform that you like, that you want to use. You are a customer. And Steam listens to the customers, okay? And that's why Steam is so dominant in the industry, right? But those people think that's a monopoly. Apparently, these people never played Monopoly.
Steam. They called Steam a monopoly. But here's the thing. The company behind this survey, the survey that's caused this news story that's led to a lot of sparks over the internet, well, that company is not exactly neutral on this matter.
Rocky is a PC game distribution platform delivering publisher-approved keys to global markets. The company partnered with over 200 stores around the world to help publishers take full control of their distribution beyond Steam. Rocky enables developers and publishers to enter the alternative distribution space safely. So the person writing the thing and doing the survey is a competitor of Steam. Okay.
And I think to make all of this so much more relevant, Valve just announced their return to...
That's exactly right, Eric. Eric says Steam is a platform that outperforms all others offers is to users everything they could want with ease of use. That's correct. Super convenient, and now they're putting a box in your living room, right? Because the people that are confused by how PCs work, right? So now they're bringing the PC to the living room for people to easily have access, convenience for that, right? They're making it easier for you, the customer, not consumer, okay, the customer to make a choice and go, hey, you know what? I really like my library. I really like the way Steam treats the customers, okay? They have well, at least you would think. Obviously, remember, they're still a big corporation, right? They have the best interest, which they do. They have the best interest at heart for them, which is also the best for you, which is better than everybody else that's making stuff out there, right? All these other people don't want to make a better product. They want to bitch and try to tear down the walls of the good products so they can sell you the shitty product. Hence why Amazon didn't succeed up against Steam. Hence why Microsoft is now trying to compete with Steam.
Console gaming with this...
Which is good, by the way, for customers. Because if Microsoft gets in and they are the lower-end Steam, but Steam's doing what they're doing and Microsoft is doing what they're doing, then you as a customer have choices, which makes competition, which makes them better.
Steam machine. And certainly, the more power...
30, I would also argue that Steam is a monopoly because of their TOS, and the devs prevent any sort of competition between platforms. If you have 30% deal on Epic, Steam requires you to do 30% or more of them. That's not a monopoly, though. It's still not a monopoly. Argus says... that's what happens when the company isn't publicly owned and traded on. Most of these other companies have gargled several peens daily, appease shareholders and investors, and they can't give us what? It's exactly right? Because the people that are private know what they want, and they don't need to make all the money, even though they're making a crap ton of money, okay? But the shareholders, they have no idea what they're doing, but they want to make the most money possible doing the least amount of anything.
powerful that Valve gets, and the more the scope of their company touches in terms of hardware and platform stuff, well, the more that happens, the larger the target on their back will grow. And that's why we do need to talk about this today. These were not random developers. The survey targeted decision-maker managers who basically knew their company's financials. It covered US and UK studios only. 2/3 were American, 1/3 were British, and it was heavily weighted towards the bigger...
Yeah, see, this is not even a survey. See, the survey was set up from the start.
...operations, which I think should tell us something. Now, 77% were from studios with over 50 employees, so basically, the kinds of companies that should, in theory, benefit some of the most from Steam's volume discounts. If you're not aware, by the way, if you hit 10 million USD revenue, then you actually get a change in your Steam cut.
Right. If you make a game and you sell that game, and that game is actually a good game and people buy your game, then you get a readjusted, right, of your wages of 75 to 25%.
Down to 25%, and I believe if it's over 50 million in revenue, then that goes down to 20%. So even though many of these companies will be getting preferential treatment, 53% said that they were concerned about depending on Steam. Now here's why that percentage is as high as it is, though some would argue that when
Let me guess. Let me take a guess. It's that high because the people they surveyed within that margin is why it's so high. Otherwise, it wouldn't be that high.
About to say should probably justify the percentage of studios being suspicious or frustrated actually being higher. So here's the numbers. For 88% of these studios, Steam generates 75% of their revenue. For 37% of them, it's 90% of their revenue. Basically, these companies don't choose Steam. They need Steam. They
need Steam because we want to use Steam. You guys understand that, right? Steam is the juggernaut that it is because they provide a product that's better than anybody else's product out there. That's because of us, the customer. If the customer wanted to go somewhere else and wanted to go buy somewhere else, you could. You can. But you don't. Because everybody else out there has a shittier product than what Steam is doing.
Really do.
It's not even close.
Without it. That means that anything that happens on or to Steam represents risk. I mean, for an example, whenever Valve changed the adult content...
Like if I'm a developer, I'm making a game now, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to use Steam. Great, that's your choice. But if you want to make money, then you got to use the product that is being sold out there, and that's the biggest market out there. So not putting a game on Steam would hurt you. You can stand by your guns and be like, you know what? I'm only going to make a game just for Sony. But you're only getting 80 million people that own a console, right? I'm only going to make a game for Nintendo. And maybe you get 150 million people that own a Nintendo Switch, okay? Or you can go to Steam, which is 3.2 billion people. I wonder, as a developer, what would you do? And then complain about it and go, well, I just wish there was a better place to do it. Yeah, so people need to go make a better place, but they don't want to do that. Steam's not bullying people. They're like, go ahead, make a competition, which is Microsoft is doing now. Microsoft is trying to do what Steam is doing. And Steam's like, great, come on in. That way people stop calling us a monopoly.
Policies this summer.
It's one Robert Jones.
Little story that impacted a lot of developers who functionally lost their entire market overnight with no appeal and no alternative. Now, obviously, Activision isn't out there making 18+ smut games on Steam, but I think you understand the issue. Now, to give you a taste of the scale here, Steam pulled in $10.8 billion in 2024. They had
10.8 billion in revenue during 2024, a new record for Half-Life Giant. Since it entered the PC distribution space back in 2018, the rival Epic Game Store has been making headway, and 1.09 billion last year. But Steam still undeniably dominant. Yeah, 10 times bigger.
To give you a taste of the scale here, Steam pulled in 10.8 billion in 2024. They had 41.6
God damn.
million concurrent users in.
That's concurrent, by the way. 41.6 million concurrent.
in October, which was up from 25.4 million in 2021. That is a rate of growth that's absolutely wild. And of course, as Steam grows, relatively speaking, their competitors end up shrinking. And as times went on, their positions only got more solid and more dominant. So when asked directly whether they think Steam holds a monopoly, these executives gave a fairly clear answer. 72% of them said yes, but
That's because these 72% are idiots and they don't know what a monopoly is.
here's where things get interesting. Because what have I told you? There was a conflict of interest involved. Do you know what kind of drives me mad? Walking out of a video planning meeting with lots of scribbled ass notes that
Eclipse
may as well
says,
be
I mean, no one's forcing them to do
stressed,
Epic.
half the
There's
action
GOG,
items
yeah.
missing,
There's
and
Epic.
by the time I
There's
decipher
GOG.
what I wrote,
There's other places, but guess what? Epic didn't even have a goddamn shopping cart for 4 years inside their thing.
context, and it just stresses me out. But it's where today's sponsor, the Plod.
Like, you couldn't buy more than one thing at a time in Epic, right? And everyone thinks that Sony's going to have their own launcher and stuff. I seriously doubt it. Okay, I seriously doubt it from the start. Okay, because let's look at this scenario. PlayStation comes out with their own launcher. Great. Now they only sell God of War and Spider-Man only on their own launcher on PC. Well, then Steam takes it down. Steam says, "Well, we're not putting it on Steam." So PlayStation then goes, "Awesome. We have all of the people that we have on Sony on the PlayStation that can buy our stuff from the PlayStation Store. And then we have our own PlayStation Store on PC that people can buy now." Okay, great. Now you're separating the player base, and the people that are on Steam are like, "Nah, I don't want to go to Epic. I don't want to go to Sony." Okay, they want it on their platform that they're on, which is Steam. So Sony makes their own. Steam says, "We'll cut you off because you have yours over there." There you go. Sony just killed their entire PC model by not putting it on Steam. They can still have their store, but they just killed their model because they don't want to put it on Steam. Now, I'm not saying they're doing this. I'm just saying that is the situation that they would be in. Why would you cut it off? Even during the FTC trial, why would Xbox take Call of Duty away from PlayStation? It doesn't make sense. But everyone's like, "Oh, they're going to take it away. They're going to take it away. They're going to take it away." Why would they take it away? They need to make the $69 billion back.
Note has become essential for me. It's an AI meeting assistant that's the size of a credit card that magnetically attaches to my phone, which is great. It's a separate thing, so no draining the phone battery, no storage warnings, no call interruptions. Just one click and I can capture up to 30 hours while I actually stay present and in the moment, not looking at my phone. Here's what it actually does. It captures everything from a 2 to 3 meter range. It transcribes with speaker labels. It then auto-generates summaries with action items.
What is this?
And key highlights.
Something else that spies on me?
That I can share with the team. And the Ask Plod feature means I can search across all of my meetings or brainstorm. So I could say, "What did Jared say about that lore timeline in that meeting 3 weeks ago?" And it would be able to tell me. It's brilliant for personal notes as well, just helps me decouple from my phone. And you know how writers often will read work aloud to refine their words? Well, I find that speaking my ideas out loud actually helps craft them. But of course, that would all be for nothing if privacy was not important here. It does matter. So Plod uses end-to-end encryption. Your data is never stolen.
I have a question. Can I just speak out loud to my phone right now and take notes?
It's never used for training. They meet SOC 2, HIPAA, GDPR, and EN 18031 standards. So privacy's covered. And at $159 with 64 gigs of storage, for me, it has paid itself back in recovered time and
Is there a fee, a monthly fee that you have to pay for this?
mental clarity. And you can check out Plod by using the link, which
Is it a one-time purchase thing or is it a monthly subscription thing?
is down in the description. You can scan the QR code as well, and you can use code Michael for 20% off at Plod. The survey actually came from a company called Rocky, and if you haven't heard of Rocky, basically there's a good reason for that. They're a B2B company. You'd never really see them as a consumer, and what they do is they help publishers sell games on non-Steam platforms.
So again, the person that did the survey is a competitor to Steam, and they're asking people if Steam's a monopoly because I'm sure they didn't skew it in any way, shape, or form by saying, "Hey, we're helping you. We're trying to help you guys. We wouldn't take the big cut that Steam takes."
And essentially, they believe that they can undercut grey market key resellers, who of course are the ones that are out there exploiting international currency differences. But for their business model to work, it requires developers to put games in more markets, and that means more stores. Many of which, if you are, say, the typical Western listener of this channel, you may not have even heard of. But basically, more games everywhere, but not Steam. That's basically what they want.
Platforms like GOG, itch.io, and Epic Games Store do offer an alternative to PC game distribution, as we'll see in the next section. But there's a good case that also made by Steam exists as an effective monopoly. In contrast, over its console gaming, and the Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft platforms share the market simultaneously in competition. So does Steam. No one's made a competitor to Steam. So Microsoft is stepping up to the plate to be a competitor for Steam. So now people shouldn't complain, right? They're like, oh, Microsoft's coming in now. So now Steam has an actual competitor.
So from Rocky's perspective,
not to say they're going to be the same as Steam. Steam is like 70, 80% of the market.
They would love developers to embrace platforms like Gamivo, Kinguin, Iniba, and Driffle. Only half of those I recognized. But here's the problem with that. Developers simply aren't using those platforms. They're not taking them seriously. And
I wonder why. Only 22% believe that the gray market is a concept of unauthorized reselling. For the majority of respondents, 73% of the gray market is not practice, but a place. 24% perceive that the marketplace themselves are a gray market. 24% define as a e-store, and 25% believe that the gray market is a combination of both. 73% of developers, 73% of developers, meanwhile, are broadly concerned about the players reselling keys.
One of the reasons why is because their entire audience lives on Steam. So, in order to make some hay out of this, Rocky commissioned this survey that led to them asking 306 studios.
I have a question. Let's take this down to a physical market here. If you make a broom, okay, and you want to sell your broom, you could sell your broom on your own store online, right? You could sell your broom to a local store in your local town, small little hardware store, and you could sell their broom. Or you could sell it to Walmart or Target. And Walmart will take all of your brooms, give you dirt cheap prices for it, right? You're gonna make volume, so you'll make a lot of money off of it in the long run. Okay. So is that a monopoly? It's not a monopoly because there's also Target. There's also Sam's Club. There's also, well, that's Walmart too, but you know what I'm saying? But there's other box stores out there, which makes it a non-monopoly because you could sell your broom anywhere. You could sign a contract with anywhere. But obviously, you would probably want to put it in Walmart because they have the most customers. But it's not a monopoly. Now, if you go to Idiocracy, right, and Brando, right, right, that's a monopoly where they own everything.
It was about Steam's dominance, and they got the exact headline that they wanted. Quote, 72% of developers think Steam is a monopoly. It's a good headline, a spicy one. It sparked debate. I saw this all over the place. But obviously, that's not 72% of all developers. It is 72% of the ones that they sampled.
It's got what plants crave. It's exactly right, Eric.
And they have an obvious agenda. But even with that obvious agenda, there is something that developers don't tend to say out loud. You gotta remember that two things can be true. Yes, this is obviously biased by Rocky, but also, yes, some of the results are revealing. To go through them, 35.9% strongly agreed that Steam is a monopoly, 36.3% slightly agreed, and
But that's not a monopoly.
19% held no opinion.
Because I believe it's a monopoly doesn't mean it's a monopoly. There's other competitors. They're just not competing.
With just over 8% disagreeing. That's a fairly large split, right? But here's actually the catch. The survey never defined monopoly. Studios just made up their own definition.
They never defined monopoly. They're just like, yeah, it's a monopoly. Yeah, it's a monopoly.
Of monopoly. It was whatever was conjured up in the head of the person responding to the survey. Now, critics have argued this issue for over a decade, and one guy who we often go to because real sound analysis is Matt Piscatella, and he flagged this up.
Matt Piscatella says, I really have other things to do in the morning, but I can't help myself. From 2010, 5 reasons why Steam will destroy the PC gaming industry. In short, Valve is becoming a dangerous monopoly. Oh, geez, I don't wonder what happened. Does Matt know what a monopoly is? Does Matt have a definition for monopoly?
People have been calling Steam a monopoly since 2010, and that's despite the fact that back then,
I guess if you say something for so long, it becomes true, right?
their market share was far weaker than it is today. And to run you through just how much Steam has grown, by 2013, Steam held 75% of PC gaming. Now, of course,
right, Z? Ford sells the most trucks in the US. Monopoly. Like, no, there's other people that sell fucking trucks. They just make a better truck, right? Like, I don't know if that's true or not, but what I'm saying is everyone just wants to blame the thing because that's the most popular thing. Does Taylor Swift have a monopoly on music because she's the most successful musician? Like, that's what this sounds like. It's like, yeah, it's a monopoly. No, that's not what a monopoly is.
Our boy Tim Sweeney would, in 2023, go on to put that at 85%. But, of course,
Epic Game Store exclusive enabled us to compete more effectively in Steam, who has roughly 85% of the market share, and multiple publisher PC game stores measured the revenue by revenue. Second, we put the press release and to make the huge announcement of our exclusives. Nothing to hide.
Of course, the Epic Game Store exists. GOG exists. Amazon tried and failed like so many others. So technically, yeah, Steam is not the only store. It isn't a complete insane monopoly. Valve does not control the supply of games. They just happen to be the best distributor of games. And you can easily argue that there's nothing stopping someone else from coming along and making something better than Steam. Anyone can compete, but what Steam does have is something that's far more powerful, and that is influence over their audience. And
well, of course, they also have the library. Once you start buying on Steam, right? Once you start buying on Steam, again, not really a big deal because you have your whole library, and then your next library is on the next app below it with the Epic Launcher, and then the next one below that with GOG, right? It's still on the same machine. Your whole library is on your machine, which is on your hard drive, and your hard drive is moved over there, which is different than what PlayStation and Xbox do and Nintendo, because if you buy something on Xbox or you buy something on PlayStation, all your stuff is stuck digitally on that thing. If that box dies, that's it. You lose everything unless the next system comes out as backwards compatible, and then you have to sign in to keep a monthly fee so they can keep your login, and then your login is attached to that account, and they're like, oh, he owns this. Okay, that's worse than what Steam's doing.
The majority of the market share. One commenter I saw when I was going through my research for this really nailed it by saying, quote, "It seems wrong to call it a monopoly when everyone else just puts out objectively worse alternatives."
That's exactly right. It's not a monopoly. It has competition. It's just the people that want to compete don't want to make a better product. They're okay just coasting.
Alternatives. Honestly, I find that pretty agreeable. And another person who seems to is Larian's director of publishing. Obviously, Baldur's Gate 3 did real well in Steam, and part of that game's development model was facilitated by Steam's early access system. But he said, it's almost as if it isn't providing a shit service defined by
I love this guy. I love this guy, right? From Larian Studios. It's almost as if we're providing a shit service defined by public shareholder KPIs. Valve Steam holds a monopoly on PC games market and says 72% of the industry executives surveyed.
Public shareholder KPIs. Yeah, so I think he's making his point very clearly, and basically, for the average consumer, yeah, Steam's absolutely awesome. It's also not a technical monopoly. If you want to use some of the technical terminology, it's what you'd call an oligopoly, which basically is the absolute dominant player. And
that is what it is, right? Oligopoly. How do you say that?
Call an oligopoly, which basically
oligopoly. Oligopoly. Jesus Christ, that's a hard word. Is a type of market structure in which a small number of firms control most of the market. Okay, the produces an indirect or direct restrict output influence prices achieved higher returns. A key characteristic of is one No one firm can keep the others from having significant influence over the market. Okay.
The absolute dominant player. And now, even if you build something that's better than Steam, the real point, and I suppose the oligopoly point, is that 85% of the market, as of 2023, it could actually be higher by now, has already got their library there. So what that means is that Steam technically is not a monopoly. They are just so dominant that that distinction stops functionally mattering. And it is exactly why governments are actually starting to pay attention. And for Valve, there is one little black mark in their history that could really
oligopoly.
Damage their
Thank you,
arguments.
Mo.
It's in the form of a leaked email, and that's what we'll get to next. By now, we've established that if you can't sell your game in Steam, you basically can't reach most of the audience. And many Steam lovers would also say, yeah, look, if the game's not in Steam, I just don't want to deal with the faff of having lots.
But is that the fault of Steam? Right? I don't think that is the fault of Steam. Right? If the customer likes the platform they're on, is that the problem with Steam? No, they're making the best product that's out there.
Of different launchers on my computer. That's understandable, but consolidation does come with problems. Adult game makers very much learned that this summer, but the impact goes beyond just the adult game people and beyond just developers. This is where we've got to talk about the United Kingdom and Poland. That's because both are investigating Steam for anti-competitive practices, where basically they want to understand if being both a store and a platform is harming consumers.
Okay, so this is the same situation that Xbox is going to be in very shortly, right? Well, they are. They're already there. What I mean by is in the PC space, right? So Polish regulators have expressed concern over possible anti-competitive practices. This is the same thing that people were talking about with the movie industry, right? That studios couldn't own theaters. They've changed that since then, where studios can now own theaters, right? Because if you make the stuff to put into the actual thing, you can manipulate shit. Right. So by digital video game platforms, the Office of Competition and Consumer Protection may be initial proceedings based on the analyze of the collected data. I meant to say not Xbox. I meant to say Steam, because now they have the physical thing, right? Instead of just being yes, they have the Steam Deck, but now they're having it in the household as well with the PC console type of thing that people say, right? So according to official website, the regulator recently launched primarily investigation to find out whether Steam, PlayStation Store, and any other digital platform are violating the country's antitrust laws. Well, please let us know.
To understand if being both a store and a platform is harming consumers. Now, of course, you may argue that Steam has done nothing wrong, right? They provide multiplayer tools. They provide relatively cheap games, great downloads, but even with that, there are still ways to compete. Just take a look at GOG, right? They sell DRM-free games. They champion preservation. That's competition. That's them standing out in the market. But obviously GOG does not have Steam's market share, and nobody is selling third-party keys for GOG Galaxy. So What do you do when there's technically competition, but it doesn't really matter? Now, here's where things get real interesting and legally interesting. Because Steam is both a store and a platform, they have what's called a most favored nation clause. And what that means is that if you generate Steam keys, then you must price them comparatively to Steam.
That's the same thing with stores, right? Where you have the suggested retail price type of stuff, right? So when people put it on sale, then you have to sell it for the same suggested retail price. Now, you can put stuff on sale, but then it has to come through a different way, right? This is why people do like gift cards, where you get this, but you get a rebate right away.
And of course, in isolation, that's completely reasonable, right? That makes a lot of sense. If you're going to go generate a Steam key and then sell it to someone, you shouldn't be undercutting Valve and Valve Store, because they're the people who will be distributing and, all of those other things, that game. But where this gets messy is when we go global. Now, this report from Appian shows that almost all of Steam's recent growth has came from non-English speaking users. Yet, Steam's automated currency conversion...
Eric says, while I'm on the side of Steam not being a monopoly, there are a lot of folks that seem to be arguing it in this clip, and it sounds like parroting. 30 said it earlier, where Steam is on top because of the consumers and choose it first and continue to make it good, go to storefront. Yeah, we decide. This is why I always say, if you don't want a game, don't buy the game. right? If you want that game to go on sale, guess what? Don't buy it. If you don't want to buy $4 gas, obviously if you need gas, you need to get gas. But if you don't need gas and someone's paying $4 a gallon for gas, don't go to that gas station. That gas station will have to lower its prices because the customers dictate. Businesses are here to make money, but they're only here to make money because they provide a service. And because they provide the service, they have to compete with other people providing services. And you as the customer get to choose if I want to use this gas station or that gas station or this supermarket or that supermarket or this console or that console. You get to choose. So if majority of people start moving towards one side or the other, that's not the company being a monopoly. That's because they're providing a better service. They're providing a better product. They're providing better things.
It harms some regions without.
Then other people come along, they're like, I want to compete, but I can't compete with that because we can't do what they do. Well, then you can't compete. You can't compete if you can't make a better product. It's a cutthroat world, man.
Outdated exchange rates. And this is definitely true. I got loads of emails from people saying that this is a real problem where they live. And that is actually why Poland's government is investigating, because they believe that Steam's policies are hurting Polish players.
We've just concluded a conversation with the Ministry of Digital Affairs. That sounds ominous, doesn't it? Specifically with the sanctuary of the state regarding the Stop Killing Game Initiative, and the change of the unfavorable Steam game price conversation in Poland. The ministry has expressed its full support of these incentives, soon together with the organizers of the Stop Killing Game Initiative and also with the Ministry of Support. We plan to contact the Office of Competition and Consumer Protection and also the Ministry of Culture.
If you combine,
sounds like a Harry Potter episode going on here.
The currency conversion rates, which
we don't have ministries here, do we? No.
Quite often end up being bullshit, with the most favored nation clause, then you've basically got a huge...
Z says, no matter what the outcome, we are the ones getting dictated.
Problem where the price floor for selling your game is being dictated by a bad currency conversion rate on Steam. And I think it's reasonable to say that, say in the case of Poland, that would be hurting the Polish consumer. But here's where things get a little bit worse for Valve. And this is what they need to be careful about. You see, there's a class action suit. We've talked about it before. It's from Willfire Games.
Okay.
Now, expert witness emails revealed that Steam support once told developers that the most favored nation clause applied to non-Steam keys. And if there's anything in this video that I suppose is counter to Valve that I'd like you to think about the most, it is this one. This is the one that I think does matter. So, if you are a developer and you decide to sell a DRM-free version of your game, and it's on your own website, which would mean that all you'd really pay is the payment processing fee, so more money would go back to you.
Right.
If you do that, according to this email, Valve may block you from Steam entirely. Now,
they may. Doesn't mean they are. I guess it would have to be a case-by-case scenario, right? Now, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it doesn't say they are, they will. It says they may. They may stop you from being on Steam.
That, according to this email, Valve may block you from Steam entirely. Now remember, I'm not talking about a Steam key being...
That right there is a little sus, right? Because, again, they may block you. But, again, if you choose and you're like, well, I made this game, I can put it on this other service that's not as big, and I can ride or die with them, okay? And I can make more money off of putting it on Epic or putting it on my own website. And I make more money. I make 90% or I make 100% or whatever it is of the actual money coming in. But only 1,000 people see it. But I make 100% of that. Or I go to Steam and I have to give them 30%, but I make a crap ton more, right? 10,000 people, 1 million people get to see it. You're like, well, do I, as a business, do I put it on this other site? Because morally, I just don't like Steam. And morally, I really like money. But I'm not going to make as much money over here as over here. That's your choice as a business owner, right?
Sold off Steam. I am talking about just a DRM-free version of your game being sold on, say, a developer store or any other store. And that's quite tricky, because Steam, yeah, controls about 85% of the market. But if Steam's rules then dictate prices for the remaining 15% of the market, well, that is when words like anti-competition and monopoly actually get serious.
Yeah, but because you think it's a monopoly doesn't make it a monopoly, though.
And by serious, I mean governments can start getting involved. And obviously, if you're Valve, you really don't want that. The tough thing about a video like this is I basically know that I really like using Steam. Almost all of you guys really like using Steam as well. Yet, here we are doing a video.
Jones says, that sounds like pretty anti-competitive to me. Hey, Steam is a corporation. Regardless if it's with private or with shareholders. It's a corporation. Corporations want to make money. Is Steam doing a better job than everybody else? Yes.
That is at least entertaining loads of criticisms of Steam. And there's
again, as a customer, you don't have to use them.
Good reason for that, because Steam really is fairly awesome. I mean, the critics will focus on the 30% cut, but I'd say that's not the real issue with Steam. It's not the real thing that people care about. I think it's basically that Valve is a mission-driven company. It's about video games. They don't have shareholders in the sort of publicly traded company way. They don't have quarterly earnings calls where, oh dear, if they miss their guidance, their stock price will just go way down. That's why I brought up that tweet from Larian's director of publishing where he...
Why can't you just put your game on both platforms? It would have to be a case-by-case scenario, Slug. Like maybe somebody wants to put an exclusive on one, right, to drive people towards that platform. Epic did this with Borderlands 3. It was like a 6-month delay before it got to Steam. Steam's like, yeah, whatever, we don't care, right? Type of stuff. And then people that were on Steam were like, yeah, I'm not going to get it on Epic, right? Again, we joke about this all the time on here, right? Like you have your Steam app, and then you have your Epic launcher, like right below it. Most people that are on Steam are like, yeah, I'm not going to go to Epic. I'll just wait 6 months. I'll wait a year before it comes to Steam. Because they don't want to, right? The consumer, or I'm sorry, the customer, right, is having such a great time on one platform, they don't want to move to the other platform, right? And it's not the developer themselves. The developer, maybe it's the manpower. Maybe they can't make it for multiple platforms, and they're like, we only can focus on one. This is not really happening with PC. More happens with the console. But most of the time, they're like, yeah, I want to put it everywhere because they want to make the most money possible. They just don't like that they have to give 30%. Again, as a customer, you look at it and go, 30%. But as a developer, and you're like, man, I just spent $1 million to make my game, and I got to put it on Steam, and they're going to take 30% from me. That's a big chunk of change, man. That's a big chunk of change.
Said that Steam is, not providing a shit service that's defined by public shareholder KPIs. Because funnily enough, users and shareholders often will want different things. And when we look across the market, yes, there's Epic, but obviously there's the Tencent stake in Epic as well. There's Microsoft with Game Pass, there's Amazon with its failed Luna. These are all companies that in some way are answering to shareholders, whereas with Valve, Gabe owns the company, right? And I think that does...
Yeah, they don't answer the shareholders. They answer the customers. And they're only doing what customers want. And they're supplying a better product than everything else.
Does actually show in the product. Look across Steam. They sell everything from your big AAA blockbusters to bizarre indie experiments. It's a lot. And sure, this summer's adult content crackdown did change things a little bit, but even with that, Valve were trying to be more hands-off. Even looking through Steam's upcoming games, you just see weird little experiments from random developers that don't tend to get surfaced.
Yeah, because who else is going to give them a shot, right? If you're a person that's a developer, a lot of people give Microsoft shit, but Microsoft gives a lot of chances to independent game developers to put on Game Pass. And then everyone's like, well, they didn't sell the game on Game Pass. It's like they paid them money up front for Game Pass. Here, Steam's like, yeah, we'll put you on here. We have this large base of people that can see it. And, oh, by the way, we're going to take 30%. Right? So do you get less people and get paid for your shit to put on Game Pass, or do you get more people but you get 30% of your shit gone?
In other places. And where that's relevant for today's discussion, well, by carrying games like that, Valve actually enables a market. And by enabling that market and providing access...
Right, Quintar. And this is another reason people love Steam, right? If the game gets delisted and you own the license, then you can still play the game. Can't do that. You can't do that on other systems.
Customers... What do? Well, they create more competition between developers, which is good for the consumer. And
They give you refunds. They're very, very customer friendly.
as they are directly financially tied to core PC gaming, their incentives are far better aligned than most, like, say, PlayStation or Xbox. Now, the 30% is still really big, and at least you could say that Xbox and PlayStation earn their cut via loss-leading consoles that create a market. Obviously, Steam Deck has been a little bit involved, and the Steam machine will probably mean that Valve's moving a little more in that direction. But with Steam, for the most part, just being a middleman in PC, but a really good middleman, we get amazing discoverability, which increases sales. We get refunds done right, which I would argue increases sales because consumers...
Yeah, it's goodwill. If someone says, I bought this game, I didn't like it, I returned it, they gave me my money back, people go, oh, wow. Try to do that with Microsoft and Sony. If you buy a digital thing and you download it, you can't return it.
Consumers feel like they're actually protected. And if I wanted to, I could just yammer on for another few minutes, glazing the hell out of Valve for all the good things that they've done. But here's the thing. The documents forced out of Valve at trial did reveal where critics have a point regarding the monopoly. So let's get to business, and here's where things get a bit problematic. So, Epic offers developers an 88-12 split. That is far better than Steam's 70-30 split. But here's where you, the consumer, are actually hurt. Because developers cannot pass on the savings that they get from the Epic Store to consumers. Now,
yeah, but you can wait and don't have to buy a game day one. So, yes, you're not getting the savings off the start. This is where customer and consumer come in. Right? The customer, if they want the thing, will wait. The consumer will buy it up front and then get burned.
If the Epic Store was somehow selling Steam keys, then I'd argue that's completely fair, because Valve would be providing the infrastructure, the bandwidth, the service, customer support, and many other things. So of course Steam keys should match Steam prices. But those Wolfire emails reveal something different, that Steam did threaten to delist games sold cheaper on other stores.
Promoting them and to stop selling it altogether. Okay, so let me read these things. Valve email regards of price parity. Okay. Will never show up and ask you to undercut your customers on other stores. And we expect you'll treat our customers with the same respect. This is a platform goal that goes beyond Steam keys. Okay. DJ Powers department says, question, and use the threat not promoting them on stop selling it altogether to get them to either raise or price elsewhere or lower the price on Steam, right? It says, A, our practice is to have conversations with the developer to understand why the price is lower everywhere elsewhere and see that we can figure out a way to get Steam priced to a similar price that is on the other platforms. So it sounds like, okay, they sit them down and find a way, see if they can talk it out. Okay. Valve email regards Steam key guidelines. Okay. It says, after making the statement on the price parity requirement clearly not limited to Steam keys, it sent a screenshot to 3 comments in the Steam key requested from. It says, we couldn't be okay selling games on Steam if they aren't available at better prices on other stores. Even if they didn't use Steam keys, if you wanted to sell a non-Steam version of your game for $10 at retail and $20 on Steam, we asked you to get the same low price or just stop selling the game on Steam if we couldn't treat our customers fairly. Okay.
Not Steam keys, just the game, sold anywhere, without using any of Steam's infrastructure. And what that does is that kills price competition. And that is something that means that you will, on average, pay more for the products that you get. And even worse than that, it is Steam.
This is the exact same thing, though, what Amazon's doing to your local stores. You can go to your store, but you can get in your car, you can use the gas, use your energy, drive over to the actual store. The inconvenience of trying to find a parking spot, getting out of the car, walking into the store, and then purchasing the actual good. Or I can pick up my phone, hit the dial, and Amazon delivers it to me, and I don't get off my ass. I don't spend any gas. I don't do anything, and they beat the price.
Steam competing against the rest of the market, not by leveraging its amazing user experience, its developer-centric features, its discoverability. No, that's Steam competing by just leveraging its ubiquity, by saying, hey, we're really...
Yeah, because, and I totally understand it, but if they lowered the standards, then the foundation starts to shake. And if the foundation starts to shake, then the customers that like the actual platform starts to waver. Meaning, oh, well, you start letting the stuff in. So they're like, this is what it is. If you want to be in our market, this is what it is. There's no difference here of what they're doing than any other company does right now in physical stores.
Big. This rule functionally applies to all of you, and we know you can't afford to violate this rule. That effectively checkmates the Epic Game Store, and it means that the market can't really self-correct. That means consumers lose. Now, Apple are another...
They lose only if there's no competition. You don't have to buy a game day one. You could wait. You do not need the thing day one.
Company with a 30% cut that faced this exact criticism. And one of the responses to that was a small business program, which basically would be a reduced 15% cut on your first million. I think if Steam wanted to do well by the PR here, they would do the same thing. Give indie developers a lower percentage for their first million USD. That would better enable
I mean, Microsoft's literally paying developers to put on Game Pass. But they get... I don't know for sure, but Microsoft is paying people to come on to Game Pass, right? They give them money up front if it's a portion of it, if it's the full fucking thing, whatever it is. And they also make money on the back end with other platforms as well.
Indies to compete on price, and it would mean that more money goes back into those indies, which of course would mean more games for the rest of us and a more efficient market.
Let me tell you something. We have plenty of games. What did Steam have last year? 18,000. What do they have this year? 17,000. If you can't find a game, there's not a game for you.
So, Steam did build the best platform, but it does appear that they then made it impossible for anyone else to compete on the one thing that does matter the most, that being pricing. And that brings me back to this survey and what the survey is really telling us. Rocky wanted marketing, they wanted a headline, and they absolutely got it, being able to say 72% of devs think Steam is a monopoly. But these developers are not asking for Steam to be broken up by the government. They're not even asking for Steam to change. They're basically asking for someone, anyone, to give them a competitive alternative.
Yes. There you go. Right? None of this is an actual problem. Right? This is not an actual problem. The only problem this is for is because there's no competition for Steam. People tried it. Amazon's tried it. Epic has tried it. GOG has tried it. Right? But no one's actually competed. They're just fine doing what they're doing. They're all just fine. Microsoft is now stepping into the ring to do the exact same thing Steam is doing. Right? And because of this, now I can't wait 2 years from now to read an article or watch a video like this where everyone's saying that, well, Microsoft is charging too much or Steam is doing too much. And now there's two people and they're competing for the same people now because everyone has Windows. Not everyone, but a massive amount of people. I would almost say that the amount of people that have Windows on their PCs are the same amount of people that have Steam on their PCs. Okay. Now, Microsoft has to compete and be like, well, we're competing with Steam on the exact same piece of hardware. None of them created the actual hardware, but these two things are going to be the largest gaming on the platform. You have Steam, and then you have Microsoft coming in. That's the actual real competition now. So everyone should have no problem now, right? Or do they not want Microsoft to compete? They would like someone else to come out of the woodwork that has no money in their pocket to compete, right? Remember, they're all in the ballpark. They're all in the same industry. They're all working together. They all know who's coming out with what, who's doing what, who's coming out with what machine, what software, what's their next game. They literally live down the street from each other. So
We've had about
competition will be here. Just will you like it?
2 decades of Steam dominance. Epic tried to compete with their Fortnite money and failed. Amazon tried to compete with their functionally infinite resources and...
Right, Jones. This is why they do certain things of gift cards, right? You go to a store and they're like, hey, you buy this, it's an instant rebate, but you also get like a gift card or whatever. Okay. That's the sale. The sale is you're getting this thing for it's full price, but you're getting a gift card to bring you in. So if I buy this computer at this store, I get a $20 gift card or a $200 gift card. Okay. That's the sale thing they're bringing you in. They're competing with the same price, but they're giving you something else to bring you back into the store to spend more money later.
Failed. Not because Steam locked them out, but because Steam built something that no one else could match, and then made sure that nobody else could undercut them on price. And that's the real monopoly question here. It's not whether Steam controls the market, because they clearly do. Their market share is just that big. But it's whether they're using that control to keep prices artificially high. Poland thinks they are. The UK thinks they are. The Wolfire lawsuit says they are. And
these might all be things that are true, but no one has proof of this. And again, as the customer, they're talking from the developer side point. As the customer, you don't have to buy full price games. Matter of fact, I guarantee you most of you don't buy full price games on Steam.
in response, Valve says they're just protecting their platform. But the thing with that is, well, when 37% of developers are depending on you for 90% of their revenue, well, that distinction kinda stops mattering. All this means that we're living in Gabe's world. The question is what happens whenever he's gone, whenever he's not running Valve. And at least based on these numbers, nobody has an answer. That's what I would like you to think about. What would lure you away from Steam? Or what do you think Steam...
A better product. The same product. Something that's more convincing. Why do you think Steam is making a PC that looks like a console? Right? He's trying to lure in the people that are console heads, okay, and getting a better experience with their games over on this device. Getting in the ecosystem of what Steam is building.
Steam should actually do different. And to learn about the game that's currently crushing Steam numbers, even though back in 2023 people were saying dead on arrival.
So there you go. If you like it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button over on Bellular's News channel. The link's in the description down below. It's very, very strange to me that obviously the article's from a developer standpoint. From a customer standpoint, Steam is good until it's not. That's what it is. When Steam starts raising the prices and Steam starts doing stuff that Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo are doing, then and only then will we have a problem with Steam. But right now, Steam is the golden child because they're the best consumer protected platform out there, and they're not even that great at it. They're just the best at it compared to everybody else. Right? They give the refunds. They do the stuff. How often do we see when Sony says, hey, we're giving refunds, everyone's like, oh, Sony, oh, they got our backs, man. Woo, right? Meanwhile, Steam does it every day. Steam's like, oh, you played this game, you don't like it? Great, we'll take it back. Not that you downloaded it and then it's like, sorry, you downloaded it. Can't have a refund. It's like, how the fuck am I supposed to know if I like the game if I didn't download it? Right? They give you a 2-hour window. Right? They give you demos. They give you demos for a lot of the games out there. There's sales constantly happening. Right? I think there's a sale going on right now. Here, I'll open Steam up. Take it back. They usually don't have to do store credit. They can put it back on your card. That's crazy. Yeah. Do you know why they can do that, Eclipse? Do you know why they can do that? Because they're so massive and the amount of people they have. That's why they can do that. Yeah, look, right? You got sales constantly going on, right? Might not be something you like, but constantly sales going on, right? Lost Skies, 30% off, right? They just got done with the sale, and then they had a sale from before. Right? There's constant sales going on. Right? All the free to play weekends and whatnot. the reason they can do that and the reason they're so customer friendly is because of the massive amount of people that use their program. They'd be stupid. They would be stupid to be like, yeah, we don't want to give a refund because, like, oh, right. Soon as Steam, and you know what? If Gabe ever leaves and someone else takes over, that's when Steam dies. Okay. Gabe is what Steve Jobs was for Apple. When Gabe leaves Steam, that's when we have to start worrying about Steam. The day he, God forbid, he's dead, he's gone, he leaves, he retires, whatever it is, someone else comes over and be like, oh, shit, what are they going to do, right? Or if he ever sells and says, I'm done with them. Select says, my issue is that the solution is, at its core, a PR stunt. If Valve only takes 15% of the first million copies, like he suggests, what does that actually accomplish? It lets more people put more games, right? It's hard to when you're a person that's trying to make it, right? Obviously you want to make it, you want to spend money to make money, you want to put your thing out there so you can become financially efficient, financially successful, whatever that is for everybody, right? You know what I mean? But once you get to that point, everyone looks at a business and says, "Oh, they must be a millionaire." They don't, right? They don't understand what costs are, what taxes are, what property taxes are. They don't understand any of that, right? They just think that a person owns a business and they must be a millionaire, but they don't know how much money they're actually spending to keep that with the people that are employed, right? So the developers, when they look at this and say, "All right, well, give us 15% instead of the 30%," and they're like, "Oh, well, we can make more games for that way." Or you can budget it better. You know what this is over here. So if they're going to take 30%, then you have to make sure that you're making your game, whatever that is, for a budget that you're going to be willing to give off 30%. Because if you give that 30% and you make the game and you sell that game, then you're going to make more money in the long run because of the vast amount of people that could potentially get your game. Right? They think the problem is them taking 30%. Instead of making a better game. How many games go on Steam, they don't even make their money back, right? They don't even make the money back to with the submitted for $100 to put it on Steam. I watched a video recently about a guy telling he made multiple games on Steam. He made one for like $700, okay? $700. Put it on Steam with the $100 that he had to put it on Steam with his cut and whatever. He made like $50. After 14 months of work, okay? Then his next game he put out, he did zero marketing, did this, made $200 or whatever. Then he did another game, and he made like $600, right? Everyone thinks that making a video game is like this golden ticket. Everyone that thinks that makes a YouTube channel is like this golden ticket that you're going to come in, I'm going to have 1 million people, I'm going to be rich and famous. That's what everyone wants, right? Instead of me making a better product for you guys, I got to bitch and moan to YouTube on how they can help me make my channel better. Right? I would be so better off if YouTube didn't take 30%. Would I? Would I be better off? Sure. Would I be getting an additional 10%, 15% of the thing? Yeah, I guess. But me being on YouTube, potentially being seen by millions of people, would work in my favor than them going, oh, well, they take 30%. And, well, I wish someone would do better, right? Then I got to go to Kick where I got to be on a gambling site so I can make more money over there, right? It's the same thing. It doesn't matter what it is, right? It doesn't matter if you're making a video game. It doesn't matter if you're making a movie. It doesn't matter if you're selling shoes. It doesn't matter if you're making YouTube content. It's all the same. Everyone wants more of the pie because they think that if they had that extra piece of the pie, they would be so much better off. But they would still be making the same thing. They'd be making the same thing. They still wouldn't be selling their game. People still wouldn't be watching my channels. People still wouldn't be buying the donuts. You got to make a better product. Feels Good says, don't joke about Gabe leaving. I mean, I'm just saying, if he leaves, what happens? When Steve Jobs left Apple, Apple fell apart. They brought Steve Jobs back. It got back. Then he died. Then it went to shit. Profitability, they're fantastic. Customer service-wise, they are so bad. Gabe isn't our overlord till he makes Half-Life 3. Eclipse says, I think it's funny that people are complaining that they didn't make back their $100 back and put their game on Steam. Look up how much it takes to put a game on console. Yeah. People think that if they make a game, all of a sudden they're just gonna make it. They're gonna be multi-millionaires. They can. You could be like Scheduled One. You could be like Pal World. You could be like Pal World and be like, we got so much money, we don't know what to do with it now. Right? That's the dream. Right? Do you think Pal World's going, man, I wish Steam didn't take 30% of our, we have so much money we don't know what to do with. Right? If it wasn't for Steam, they wouldn't have that money. So it's like, it's only bad when it's bad. And it's not a problem when you make it. Epic didn't have a problem when they didn't make game when they weren't doing Epic Game Store and stuff like that. They were just making games, selling games. But then Fortnite changed it all. And they're like, wait a minute, we made trillions of dollars. We could do a lot with this. Right? And they're like, hey, Apple's a bully. They're taking too much. Right? Which changed the game. They're like, hey, Sony doesn't want to put crossplay on there. We'll teach them. Right? You don't think Epic was shifting their weight around because of what Fortnite is? You don't think they're doing that right now with Fortnite? You don't think Fortnite's taking away from other game companies? Right now, there's someone making a game that took them 6 years to make, and they won't ever be seen because everyone's still playing Fortnite. Right? Is Fortnite a monopoly? Is Fortnite should be shut down? No, they made a game. They're keeping people around. They're doing what they're doing. New post notification from Hightail. Explore the world of secret challenges, enemies, and get ready to make your market adventures. There you go. What's happening? TLDR. Altern, you wanted me to talk about this. Here, I'll bring this up. TLDR early access date to be announced in the coming days. Platform, Windows at launch, Linux/Mac will be attempted. Other platforms much later. So this was supposed to come out for console, not coming out for console anytime soon. Pricing details will be announced in the coming days. Early access state, expect bugs, rough edges, unbalanced content, and frequent updates that breaks things. Even though the game was done in 2020 to be released in 2021, and then they changed the game engine moving forward, they're still going to have a broken, buggy game in the new engine or back to the old engine. Early access duration expect to last at least a few years to rush to 1.0. Game was supposed to come out in 2021. We're in 2025, and we need more years before this game comes out. Launch content, exploration mode, creative mode, and modding. If I showed you the video of what this game was supposed to be in 2020, you'd be like, what the hell's going on here? Not at launch. Minigames, adventure mode, both come later. Dedicated team for minigames. So what did you work on for 7 years? Ownership, we own 100% of Hightail, repurchased from Riot Games. Great. Funding, 10-year personal funding commitment. No investors or publishers. So that means nickel and dime you for the next couple of years for the game. Game build, using the previous engine from the trailer, enabling faster development and immediate playability. If the previous engine from the trailer is what you're going back to, then why is it taking so long when the game was done before you changed engines? These are my questions for Hightail. Modding, available at launch, run your own servers, and create custom content. It makes you wonder if it's this far behind, why Riot got rid of it and sold it. But I had a video. I said, sell it. If you don't want to do it, sell to somebody that wants to. But now it's like the last 5 years didn't even happen for this game. Now you have to wait 2 more before the game comes out. It's crazy. Altern says, I can't wait for them to sell me a $120 Founders Pack. Let me show you. Let me show you this. The Hightail trailer from, where is this? I gotta go to YouTube. Let me go to YouTube. Let me find the original trailer. Okay, 21 hours, it's back. 1 hour ago. 3 months ago. That's Hightail News. Do they have... ...6 years ago, okay? 6 years ago is where they showed this trailer right here. 6 years ago. This is before they got bought by Riot. Okay, this is before they got bought by Riot. This is before the new engine. This is before they got bought out. I don't need to hear the music. Right? Look, this is from 2019. All this in the game already, right? And I think they go over other things in here as well, as far as what they're going to do, as far as like editing and filming and all this other shit. Right, this is 6 years ago. Okay, so look, so now they're showing you community servers. Okay, again, remember this is 6 years ago. Community servers. Look at all the people. Okay, mini games. Right? Extensive modding. Okay? Powerful tools where you can create your own things in the actual game. Epic adventures. Watch videos together. Paint the world. Make movies. Live scripting. Right? All of this 6 years ago. Now, let me go back to the post. Okay? Let's go back to the TLDR. Early access date to be announced coming soon. Okay? Platform just on PC. Don't know the pricing. Early access, expect bugs. This game was complete. You can go look it up. It was complete in 2020 to come out in 2021. Riot approached them and said, hey, we want to buy you. They bought out. Then they started adding stuff to the game. They changed the engine. And then 4 months ago, we talked about this as far as Hightail is closing down. The original owner that sold it to Riot has now purchased it back. He owns the rights to Hightail. Riot let it go, which is smart on Riot because this is what they should do. If you're not going to use something, don't keep it and kill it. Sell it to someone that actually wants to do it, okay? They said that they were done, but they had to change engines and whatnot, and now here we are, right? So at launch, no minigame. No adventure mode, both coming later, dedicated teams for minigames. Like, what are we talking about? Modding available at launch. Fantastic. Run your own servers and create custom content. That's still in the game, right? What happened to all the other stuff? What happened to all the other stuff? Just like Multiverses, the game didn't go to Unreal Engine 5. They would have probably still been around. Guarantee that they have compared their product to some of the other new crafting adventure games, and they also realized there was going to not be as good as enough product. What they promised 6 years ago before they sold it off to Riot. Remember, they sold it off to Riot right before it was supposed to come out. What you're telling me is the trailer was fake. No other game company, Anthem, has done it ever. Yeah. Probably had a buyback clause. No, they didn't. No, they didn't, Quintar. We went over the actual thing. They were closing it down. And then the guy said, I'll buy it back, right? I'll buy it back and see what happens. And he bought it, and he said he had to talk to his family and whatnot, whatever else. So he's privately funding it now. Well, 30, they need something to update, I guess. Imagine just making a game and selling a game. So how long till he sells Hytale again? Unfortunately, because he's doing it the way he is, I think a lot of people... I mean, I would love to try this. I would love to try it, okay? But if he comes out like you're saying, Altern, and asks for a founder's pack for $100, if he comes out and says $20, right, the one-time price or whatever, help us make the game, I think it'll be very successful for that. But the unfortunate part is I don't think we ever see this game complete. I think it'll just be a constant chasing the thing down, and it didn't do enough because they think they're going to have enough early adopters to come in. At this point, I don't want to say the game is dead, but this reminds me a lot of Boundless. Do you guys remember Boundless? Okay. Let me show you Boundless. All right. I played this game called Boundless, okay, years ago. Okay. And they constantly were hyping this up, and there was a lot of people playing this game, right? A lot of people playing this game before it launched. Okay. Here's what happened when it launched. Okay. There was a big community behind it. Big community behind it. Okay. They put microtransactions and stuff at launch, and it never came back. They had microtransactions, another one, Krebsy, Wayfinder, same type of thing, right? Unfortunately, Boundless, I bring up Boundless because Boundless is like Hytale, right? Boundless is like Minecraft. It was a much better Minecraft, but they fucked it up along the way. It was an awesome game. Creativity-wise, the way you could cut blocks and everything, much better game than Minecraft. But fundamentally, they try to monetize it to no end. Okay? I believe that's how Hytale's going to go. Unfortunately. A game that people were that loved Minecraft so much, like, we can make a better Minecraft. And then something happened along the way. And we talked about this a couple months ago. Managers, need to keep artists on task. When you start seeing some other game do something, you're like, oh, we should do that here. No. Keep on task. Do what you need to do to get the game complete. Okay? Do 1.0 before you start doing 5.0. The concept seems to be something for everyone. You know how that works. Their concept is to beat Minecraft. That's what their concept is. And they never beat Minecraft. Speaking of, right? Speaking of trying to beat Steam and make a better product, while these people are still making this game, Minecraft just keeps going. Is Minecraft a monopoly? Is Roblox a monopoly? No. Roblox and Minecraft is what people like. You need to make something that's just as good as that and then make it better. They never do. Right? Unfortunately, I don't think this... You're going to see a lot of people talk about this game when it comes out. People are like, oh, it's so good, so great. It'll die shortly after. I'll be straight up forward. If it's $20, I will buy it, okay, to see it and play it, to support, just like I paid $4 for Minecraft back in the day, okay? Because I like these types of games, but unfortunately, this game is not going to make it. we're that ship has sailed. That ship has sailed. Right? But we'll see. All right. We are going to be playing some Arc Raiders this afternoon with Mr. Luke. I don't know why my brain just went numb. So we'll be back around 1 o'clock for Arc Raiders for about an hour and a half of Arc Raiders play. If I don't see you guys this afternoon, then I'll see you again this evening at 8 p.m. where we play probably more Arc Raiders or we'll play Marvel Rivals. One of the two. If anybody wants to play those games, let me know. Okay. Appreciate it very much. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We do appreciate you very much for coming out and supporting. If you'd like to help us out above that, there's also, you can listen to our music. We have 2 new songs that posted today. One's called Lost Its Call, which is a Call of Duty song. And then we have Battlefield's Back, which is both up on Spotify, both up on the YouTube channel, 30NSG Topic. So you can check those out as well. Just listening to them helps us out. If you want to download them or purchase them, you can do that as well. But just listening to the music helps us out. So I appreciate it very much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
I remember the nights, the red dot sights, heartbeat racing in the flashing lights. Back in the days it was fight or die. Now it's all skins just to look fly. No more teamwork, just solo cues. Every match feels deja vu. We had grit, we had soul. Now it's battle passes with no control. We used to drop in with purpose, now it's all surface. No heart in the fight, just noise in the furnace. They chase trends, forgot the roots, lost the boots. Now it's flashy suits. Call of Duty. What happened to you? You were the fire, now you just fumes. From modern warfare to a neon dream. You lost your edge, forgot the team. We used to fight for something real. Now it's all about that highlight reel. Oh, Call of Duty. You lost your call. Search and destroy. Every round we'd hold our breath, boy. Now it's all flashing moves and noise. Microtransactions kill the joy. No more brothers on the same side. Just randoms and rage on the live mic. Skill-based match kills the vibe. I miss the days we just drop and ride. Go soap and price, had soul. Stories that cut right through the code. Now it's just operators sold. Another skin, another mold. You start Treyarch's Infinity Sledgehammer 2. Who's gonna bring back the truth in you? Call of Duty. What happened to you? You were the fire, now you just fumes. From modern warfare to a neon dream. You lost your edge, forgot the team. We used to fight for something real. Now it's all about that highlight reel. Oh, Call of Duty. You lost your call. Oh, Call of Duty. Oh, Call of Duty. I'll still drop in, I'll still reload, but it ain't the same road we know. The legends fade, the heart's gone small. Call of Duty, you lost it all.